Bonjour, this is Pierre from French Moments, and in this video I'll take you for a walk in the village of Robion in Provence. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. It really supports the channel and helps us bring more unique content to you. Also, if you haven't already, click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest videos. Let's begin our exploration of Robion from the Place de l'Église, where I've parked my car. This is located at the entrance to the historic village right next to the church. In front of us is the Place Clément Gros. This roundabout is the heart of the village as all the streets converge towards it and it's crowned of 6 large centennial plane trees. In the center there is an old public well that has been transformed into a fountain. The Escanson spring has long served to supply the village with drinking water. The stream originates from a rock fissure on the mountainside overlooking the village. The captured water was used to supply this fountain, which the villagers nicknamed La Pompe. It somewhat resembles a Maurice column like those found in Paris. The old village is slightly uphill and we will start the visit with the Rue du Four. During your visits, you will notice plaques indicating houses with historical significance. For example, you will discover the former house of the bailiff in 1789, the old village oven, and more. Robion is located 6 kilometers from Cavaillon and 30 kilometers from Avignon. The famous Provençal poet and author Frédéric Mistral once said that Robion was the key to the Luberon. To discover the old village of Robion, you need to leave the Avenue Aristide Briand, the main road that runs through the new parts of the commune. We arrive at the Place de l'Horloge. You can see one side of the clock tower. Let's go down a bit to admire its front view. The clock tower has 2 bells. The bell on the left dates back to 1851, but the one on the right is much older. It dates back to 1489 and is one of the oldest in the Vaucluse. The current clock dates from 1743 and was made by Nicolas Mouchotte of Avignon. Let's go back up to return to the old village. Let's take the Rue André Ricot on the left. The old village evokes the Provençal charm of villages of yesteryear with steep and winding cobblestone streets. Moreover, while strolling through the streets of the old village, you will see many elements of small heritage. Look up to discover Renaissance-style mullioned windows, pretty doors and carriage doors, some of which have sculpted arch keys. The origin of the village's name is unknown. In the past, locals thought that the name Robion came from the Latin word robur, meaning oak. Other theories suggest that the name Robion could also derive from the root rup, from the Latin rupes, meaning steep rock. This could be explained by the village's location at the foot of the steep cliffs of the Petit Luberon. In any case, the earliest mention of the name dates back to 1233, referring to a place on the road to Robione. Let's turn right onto the Rue de la Calade, which is certainly the most picturesque street in Robion. The castle once stood somewhere on the left. The site of the current village has been occupied since the early Middle Ages. It was the castrum of Robione, of which remnants of the ramparts can still be seen today. A castle was built at the highest point of the village. Robion initially belonged to the Count of Provence, who was a vassal of the Holy Roman Empire, and later to the Count of Toulouse. On the 27th of April 1274, the Comtat Venessin, including Robion, became a papal territory. Robion was administered by the Bishop of Cavaillon and the representative assembly of the Comtat Venessin, which sat in Carpentras, its capital. Robion and the Comtat Venessin became part of France on the 14th of September 1791 during the Revolution. We arrive at the Portalet, the old fortified gate leading to the castle. Robion is a village that has come a long way. Imagine that it was still in ruins in the 1950s. As with the nearby village of Oppède, this was due to the abandonment of the village at the end of the 19th century and beginning of the 20th century. Since then, the ruins have been cleared and the houses rebuilt. The cobbled streets were restored in 1992. Today, the commune of Robion has around 4,700 inhabitants and 50 shops, most of which are located along the Avenue Aristide Briand, away from the old village. Before heading back to the church, let's take the Rue du Docteur Mounier, which runs along the old rampart. We have a beautiful view of the square, the fountain, and the war memorial. If you're watching this on YouTube and you've been to Robion and this part of Provence, I'd love to hear about your visit. Drop a comment below and tell us what you loved about it. And here's the apse of the Church of Notre-Dame de la Nativité, which was built, as you can see, outside the ramparts. Its earliest mention dates back to 1261, but the construction is earlier than that, probably towards the end of the 12th century. Because of its location outside the ramparts, it was damaged several times. This led to the construction of a new church inside the ramparts. All that remains of this church is the bell tower, which we saw earlier. Thank you for taking part in this discovery walk with me. It was a real pleasure to help you discover the village of Robion-y-Provence. I'll see you soon for other adventures. À bientôt!